This video is intended to demonstrate on-scene wet decontamination, specifically during freezing weather. At a minimum, this video should be a starter, at least for the conversation in your department to begin on-scene decontamination. This video was filmed on the morning of December 7th, 2018 in Beavercreek, Ohio, with an outside air temperature of 17 degrees Fahrenheit. It was during the research burns for UL's Fire Safety Research Institute, the FSRI, which are part of the study of coordinated fire attack using acquired structures. What you see is firefighters getting decontaminated from the contaminants, soot and smoke, from the research burn that had just been completed. Notice you see the firefighters, still on air, walk over to the decon area that was pre-established. Staying on air provides added airway protection from the off-gassing gear. You will also notice that the firefighters performing decon are not wearing an SCBA. SCBAs would be needed if they were conducting dry decon where fireground contaminants would be airborne. The firefighters will get wet down with a garden hose. This is the first step in the process to wet down and rinse off visible fireground contaminants. The firefighter then proceeds to the next step, which is the application of a soap and water solution to the member's gear. This solution is made up of dish soap, approximately 2 teaspoons, and water. It is made in a 2-gallon pump sprayer and then applied to the firefighters requiring decontamination. Alternatively, this can be accomplished using a 5-gallon bucket with a solution of dish soap and water, using 2 gallons of water with approximately 2 teaspoons of dish soap. They then scrub the firefighters using an industrial scrub brush and scrub hard enough to effectively agitate the solution to produce bubbles. The agitation of the brush, coupled with the water and dish soap solution, is the key to removing harmful contaminants. Wet decon has been reported through research to be the best method to quickly remove contamination from the outer shell of the gear, with an 85% median reduction. This 85% median reduction is the midpoint, with some contamination removal above and some below 85%. There may be many causes for this, such as firefighters performing decon that understand the important responsibility to properly protect their brother and sister firefighters and perform thorough decon correctly. A company of 5 firefighters can typically be deconned completely in less than 5 minutes per company, using only a couple of firefighters. For a more efficient decon, it is best to have a decon officer supervising the operation and directing firefighters around to each of the stations. Importantly, we are using a garden hose. One of the problems that we see with a larger hose or booster line is that the larger hose streams tend to saturate the gear and drive water into the interface and closure openings of the gear, such as the glove sleeve interface, the front jacket closures, and under the coat and at the collar. Large quantities of water are not needed, and a garden hose is preferred. The outer shell of the gear does provide some protection from liquid, and the second layer of the 3 layers of our gear, the moisture barrier, is specifically designed to provide liquid protection and prevent liquids from reaching the wearer's skin. Once the firefighter is appropriately scrubbed down, the member continues to the next step and is rinsed off until no suds remain on the gear. Once the member is rinsed off, the next step is to come off air and be directed to a pre-designated rehabilitation area. In this video, you see the firefighter walk to and enter a warming tent that was set up. It is at this point that the member removes their gear. As closely as possible, remove firefighter gloves the same way you would remove blood-soaked EMS gloves. Continue to further decontaminate using a designated decontamination wipe. You will also notice that the firefighter is not wet from the water used during decon. He is wet from perspiration, and this is the key reason a tent with a controlled environment is an important part of decon and rehabilitation. The firefighters remain in rehabilitation until they are cleared to return to duty or released from the scene. Following the release from the scene, members must shower and change into clean station wear as quickly as possible to further reduce exposure. A few additional points for consideration. When possible, it is best for the firefighters to stay on air upon exiting the structure and proceed directly to decontamination. There are many considerations that will affect this, such as the location and floor of the fire, and the member's remaining air supply. A firefighter low on air, as indicated by the Vibra Alert activation, will be prioritized and fast-tracked through decontamination, so this member can remain on air. While exiting firefighters can decon each other, it is best to have fresh firefighters that were not part of the fire extinguishment effort perform the decon. These firefighters will not be tired and will perform a better quality of decon. Setting up an area to protect firefighters is important in both hot and cold weather. Shade and cooling tents in hot weather and heat and warming tents in cold weather. When the ground is cold and frozen, ice melt is needed to prevent injury. There are many considerations that must be considered when performing on-scene wet decon. Temperature is one of them. The firefighters deconned in this video continue to operate the remainder of the day using the same gear that was wet down during this decon without any issues. We in the fire service must continue the conversation. Define what works best in your area. I want to thank the Beavercreek Fire Department and especially Battalion Chief Dave Young and firefighter Mike Bowman for his participation in this video.